January 3rd, Universal Century 0079. The colony cluster farthest away from Earth, the Principality of Zeon, declares war on the Earth Federation and begins its war for independence. After this declaration, they immediately begin maneuvering to carry out their master plan, Operation British. The goal is to secure a colony, gas all of its inhabitants, and then drop it onto the Earth in a bid to force the Federation to surrender, lest more of these colony drops would happen. January 4th, Island Ifish, a colony of Site 2, begins its journey to Earth. Operation British is a go. January 8th, the Earth Federation's Tianan fleet intercepts the colony and its escorts and begins a desperate battle to stop it. While they're unable to halt the operation itself, the fleet is able to damage the colony enough to prevent it from being dropped onto Jobro, the Earth Federation's main stronghold, and of course, the target of Operation British. January 10th, due to the fighting, the colony is knocked off course, and during its atmospheric re-entry, it even breaks into two halves. The first half drops onto Sydney, while the rubble of the second half drops into the Pacific Ocean and on various parts of North America. January 11th, Site 6 declares neutrality. January 13th, with Operation British not having succeeded in its primary goal, Zeon decides to try again and begins to gather for the next major confrontation with the Earth Federation. January 15th, with the aim of hijacking yet another colony, Zeon invades Loom. The Federation counters them, and the famous Battle of Loom ensues. January 16th, the Black Tri-Stars manage to capture General Revel, who is the commander-in-chief of the Federation's forces gathered at Loom. The battle ended in a decisive victory for Zeon, but despite this, the Federation was able to achieve their primary goal. A second colony was not dropped. Still, this crushing defeat, combined with having one of their top generals captured, was enough to bring the Federation to the negotiation table, and talks for peace began. January 28th, the here unnamed peace treaty is agreed upon by both the Federation and Zeon, and an armistice is signed. January 31st, the previously captured General Revel escapes and makes his way back to the Federation. As soon as he gets back, he gives his famous "Zeon is exhausted" speech. This reinvigorates the Federation, and they now vow to continue the war to the bitter end, despite having just signed the armistice. February 7th, in response, Zeon begins the first of their Earth descent operations. April 1st, to counter Zeon's mobile suits, the Federation begins the Vincent Plan, a side project of their own mobile suit development plans. The goal here is to build their own mobile suit carriers, and it also seeks to upgrade existing ships with basic mobile suit handling capabilities. May 17th, Zeon completes the Space Fortress Solomon. Sometime in June, Zeon establishes the Flanagan Institute to begin researching new types. June 30th, Zeon completes the Space Fortress Abawaku. July 7th, the Federation completes their first mobile suit carrier, the amphibious assault ship Pegasus. Sometime in August then, the Federation begins the final rounds of testing for their high-tech Gundam and other brand new mobile suits at Site 7. September 18th, after having caught wind of what's going on at Site 7, a Zeon unit led by Char infiltrates the colony. Jean is meant to participate in his operation, but due to an issue with his Zaku, he cannot join them. Char and his unit then successfully manage to capture the RX-7802 Gundam and even the Pegasus. The RX-7801 attempts to stop them, but Char disposes of him. Both the captured Gundam and the ship are then successfully delivered to Dozel, and absolutely no time is wasted analyzing their new war spoils. A crack research team is immediately formed, consisting of personnel from both Dozil and Cassilia, and they set out to reverse engineer the Gundam. As a result, plans to build a large mobile armor outfitted with the Psychoma system is cancelled. This most likely would have become the Elmeth. The Pegasus, meanwhile, was patched up and repainted, and immediately pushed into service as the newly christened Sodon. And also on that day, Garmazabi is discharged from the military due to personal reasons. Between October and November then, the Federation begins massive counterattacks on Odessa and North America. These offensives succeed, and the Federation is able to drive Zeon back. In desperation, Zeon launches a drop operation on Jawbro, but this also ends in failure for them. By now, the Federation seems to have regained control over the Earth, and they are even beginning to make plans for major offensives in space. The next events then don't have a specified date, so let's go over them in the order that they are listed. Because Zeon stole the RX-7802 and destroyed the RX-7801, the Federation decided to mass-produce the gun cannon instead. But this didn't mean that they just mass-produced it verbatim. They still had the test data of the Gundams, so they combined this with the gun cannon to create a hybrid mobile suit known as the Gun Cannon Light. This machine was meant to have the firepower of the gun cannon and the close combat capabilities of the Gundam. Zeon, meanwhile, was reaping all of the benefits from the Gundam as they managed to reverse engineer it. A development race for their next mass production unit began between Zeonic's MS-14 and the team working on making a simplified Gundam. The simplified Gundam won, and the MS-14 was scrapped. Also, at the same time, plans were being made to mass-produce the Big Zam, of course, at the request of Dozil. Meanwhile, over at Granada, the Flanagan Institute begins installing the Psychoma system into various machines, one of them being the Gundam that Char stole. By this time, it had been painted red and renamed to the Red Gundam, and now it also received Psychoma weaponry that were supposedly taken from that scrapped mobile armor. Shortly after this, the Federation begins their big push into space, and the first battle for Solomon ensues. With the help of the solar system, they're able to overwhelm Solomon's defenders, and the space fortress falls into their hands. Dozil attempts to prevent this by launching in Big Zam Unit 1, but he is killed in action. After the battle, Shalia Bull returns from Jupiter and meets up with Char Aznable. The two hit it off, and both of them are tasked with attacking Solomon using their new Psychoma weapons. For Char, this was his newly upgraded Gundam, and for Shalia, this was the Kikaroga. While this was happening then, M'Quve was also preparing for another battle. The Battle of Luna 2, the Earth Federation's main stronghold in space. And M'Quve actually managed to pull it off. Luna 2's commander, Wakane, realized that the battle was quickly going south, so in an attempt to deal as much damage as possible to Zeon, he orders Solomon, now renamed to Confeto, to be dropped on Granada, a major Zeon asset. Seeing what's going on, M'Quve orders Char's unit to intercept and stop the Solomon drop. Char moves out with Sodon as his flagship and manages to pull off a surprise attack on Solomon, leading to the second Battle of Solomon. Char's troops manage to land onto the space fortress, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to stop the drop itself. Until something called the Zek Nova happens. This is a Psychoma event triggered by Char and his Gundam. This managed to stop the Solomon drop, but it also causes Char and his Gundam to vanish into thin air. The Solomon drop is a failure, and shortly after it, Luna 2 falls to Zeon. With no more fight left in them, the Federation asks to reopen the negotiations for a ceasefire. January 3rd, Universal Century 0080. After exactly 1 year, the 1-year war comes to a close, with a complete retreat by the Earth Federation. And with the end of the 1-year war, we have also gotten to the end of this video. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all next time.